was able to get this video out. Today we are going to be talking about the history of ancient Egypt. It's going to be a little different than our normal facts videos. Instead of fact 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is just going to be more information. Kind of like our history of the automobile video that we made a long time ago. I'm probably going to do more videos like this because I enjoy it, and I think a good amount of people also enjoy these types of factual, historical types of videos, Let's get started. For almost 30 centuries, from its unification around 3100 BC to its conquest by Alexander the Great in 332 BC, ancient Egypt was the preeminent civilization in the Mediterranean world. From the Great Pyramids of the Old Kingdom through the military conquests of the New Kingdom, Egypt's majesty has long entranced archaeologists and historians and created a vibrant field of study all its own: Egyptology. The main sources of information about ancient Egypt are the many monuments, objects, and artifacts that have been recovered from archaeological sites, covered with hieroglyphs that have only recently been deciphered. The picture that emerges is of a culture with few equals in the beauty of its art, the accomplishment of its architecture, or the richness of its religious traditions. So that was just our introduction. Now we're going to get into the pre-dynastic period, 5000 through 3100 BC. Few written records or artifacts have been found from the pre-dynastic period, which encompassed at least 2,000 years of gradual development of the Egyptian civilization. Neolithic or late Stone Age communities in Northeastern Africa exchanged hunting for agriculture and made early advances that paved the way for the later development of Egyptian arts and crafts, technology, politics, and religion, including a great reverence for the dead and possibly pharaohs were established. The Red Land to the north, based in the Nile River delta, and extending along the Nile, perhaps to Advi, not sure how that's pronounced, and the White Land in the south, stretching from Advi to Gebel Es Silla. Probably butchered that. A southern king, Scorpion, made the first attempts to conquer the northern kingdom around 3200 BC. A century later, King Menes would subdue the north and unify the country, becoming the first king of the first dynasty. As always, I am sorry if I mispronounce any of these names or locations. King Menes, I'm just going to go with Menes, founded the capital of ancient Egypt at White Walls, later known as Memphis. In the north, near the apex of the Nile River delta, the capital would grow into a great metropolis that dominated Egyptian society during the Old Kingdom period. The Archaic period saw the development of the foundations of Egyptian society, including the all-important ideology of kingship. To the ancient Egyptians, the king was a godlike being, closely identified with the all-powerful god Horus. The earliest known hieroglyphic writing also dates to this period. In the Archaic period, as in all other periods, most ancient Egyptians were farmers, living in small villages, and agriculture, largely wheat and barley, formed the economic base of the Egyptian state. The annual flooding of the Great Nile River provided the necessary irrigation and fertilization each year. Farmers sowed the wheat after the flooding receded and harvested it before the season of high temperatures and drought returned. Old Kingdom, Age of the Pyramid Builders, 2686 through 2181 BC. The Old Kingdom began with the third dynasty of pharaohs around 2630 BC. The third dynasty's king, Djoser, asked Imhotep, an architect, priest, and healer, to design a funerary monument for him. The result was the world's first major stone building, the Step Pyramid at Saqqara, near Memphis. Pyramid building reached its zenith with the construction of the Great Pyramid at Giza on the outskirts of Cairo, built for Khufu or Cheops in Greek, who ruled from 2589 to 2566 BC. The pyramid was later named by classical historians as one of the ancient world's Giza for Khufu's successors, Khafra, 2558 through 2532 BC, and Menkaura, 2532 through 2503 BC. During the 3rd and 4th dynasties, Egypt enjoyed a golden age of peace and prosperity. The pharaohs held absolute power and provided a stable central government. The kingdom faced no serious threats from abroad, and successful military campaigns in foreign countries like Nubia and Libya added to its considerable economic prosperity. Over the course of the 5th and 6th dynasties, the king's wealth was steadily depleted, partially due to the huge expense of pyramid building, and his absolute power faltered in the face of the growing influence of the nobility and the priesthood that grew up around the sun god, Ra. After the death of the 6th dynasty's king, Pepi II, who ruled for some 94 years, the Old Kingdom period ended in chaos. The First Intermediate period. On the heels of the Old Kingdom's collapse, the 7th and 8th dynasties consisted of a rapid succession of Memphis-based rulers until about 2160 BC, when the central authority completely dissolved, leading to civil war between provincial governors. This chaotic situation was intensified by Bedouin invasions and accompanied by famine and disease. From this era of conflict emerged two different kingdoms. A line of 17 rulers, dynasties 9 and 10, based in Heracleopolis, ruled Middle Egypt between Memphis and Thebes, while another family of rulers arose in Thebes to challenge Heracleopolitan power. Around 2055 BC, the Theban prince Mentuhotep managed to topple Heracleopolis and reunited Egypt, beginning the 11th dynasty and ending the First Intermediate period. Middle Kingdom, the 12th dynasty, 2055 through 1786 BC. After the last ruler of the 11th dynasty, Mentuhotep IV, was assassinated, the throne passed to his vizier or chief minister, who became king, Amenemhet south of Memphis, while Thebes remained a great religious center. During the Middle Kingdom, Egypt once again flourished, as it had during the Old Kingdom. The 12th dynasty kings ensured the smooth succession of their line by making each successor co-regent, a custom that began with Amenemhet the First. That is such a tongue twister, and I'm probably butchering it. Middle Kingdom Egypt pursued an aggressive foreign policy, colonizing Nubia with its rich supply of gold, ebony, ivory, and other resources, and repelling the Bedouins who had infiltrated Egypt during the First Intermediate Period. The kingdom also built diplomatic and trade relations with Syria, Palestine, and other countries, undertook building projects, including military fortresses, and returned to pyramid building in the tradition of the Old Kingdom. The Middle Kingdom reached its peak under Amenemhet III, 1842 through 1797 BC. Its decline began under Amenemhet IV, 1798 through 1790 BC, and continued under his sister and regent Queen Sobekneferu, 1789 through 1786, who was the first confirmed female ruler of Egypt and the last ruler of the 12th dynasty. The Second Intermediate Period, 1786 through 1567 BC. The 13th dynasty marked the beginning of another unsettled period in Egyptian history, during which a rapid succession of kings failed to consolidate power. As a consequence, during the Second Intermediate Period, Egypt was divided into several spheres of influence. The official royal court and seat of government was relocated to Thebes, while a rival dynasty, the 14th, centered on the city of Zeus in the Nile Delta, seems to have existed at the same time as the 13th. Around 1650 BC, a line of foreign rulers known as the Hyksos took advantage of Egypt's instability to take control. The Hyksos rulers of the 15th dynasty adopted and continued many of the existing Egyptian traditions in government as well as culture. They ruled concurrently with the line of native Theban rules of the 17th dynasty, who retained control over most of southern Egypt, despite having to pay taxes to the Hyksos. The 16th dynasty is variously believed to be Theban or Hyksos rulers. conflict eventually flared between the two groups, and the Thebans launched a war against the Hyksos around 1570 BC, driving them out of Egypt. The New Kingdom, 1567 through 1085 BC. Under Ahmose I, the first king of the 18th dynasty, Egypt was once again reunited. During the 18th dynasty, Egypt restored its control over Nubia and began military campaigns in Palestine, clashing with other powers in the area such as the Mitannians, I'm gonna go with, and the Hittites. The country went on the established. Oh, crap, I lost my spot. Hold on. Son of a bitch. Okay, sorry. I need to get a tablet, because I do all of these Facts Fridays using my phone, and it's so easy to lose my place, because it went to a different page. 1 second. Okay, let's start over at that. Clashing with other powers in the area such as the Mitannians and the Hittites. The country went on to establish the world's first great empire, stretching from Nubia to the Euphrates River in Asia. In addition to powerful kings such as Amenhotep I, Thutmose I, and Amenhotep III, and the New Kingdom was notable for the role of royal women such as Queen Hatshepsut. I have no idea. God, these names. Who began ruling as a regent for her young stepson. He later became Thutmose III, Egypt's greatest military hero, but rose to wield all the powers of a pharaoh. The controversial these are like tongue twisters. The controversial Amenhotep. I'm leaving this in there, by the way. I'm not editing that out. Screw it. These names are killing me. Of the late 18th dynasty, undertook a religious revolution, disbanding the priesthoods dedicated to Amun-Ra, a combination of the local Theban god Amun and the sun god Ra, and forcing the exclusive worship of another sun god, Aten, renaming himself Akhenaten, servant of the Aten, or Atan, I don't know. He built a new capital in Middle Egypt called Akhetaten, known later as Amarna. Why couldn't you just name it Amarna? God, that's so much easier. Upon Akhenaten's death, the capital returned to Thebes, and Egyptians returned to worshipping a line of kings named Ramses. I guess, saw the restoration of the weakened Egyptian empire and an impressive amount of building, including great temples and cities. According to the biblical chronology, the exodus of Moses and the Israelites from Egypt possibly occurred during the reign of Ramses II, 1304 through 1237 BC. All of the New Kingdom rulers, with the exception of Akhenaten, were laid to rest in deep rock-cut tombs, not pyramids. In the Valley of the Kings, a brutal site on the west bank of the Nile opposite Thebes, most of them were raided and destroyed with the exception of the tomb and treasure of Tutankhamun, 1361 through 1352 BC, discovered largely intact in 1922. The splendid mortuary temple of the last great king of the 20th dynasty, Ramses III, 1187 through 1156 BC, was also relatively well preserved and indicated the prosperity Egypt still enjoyed during his reign. The kings who followed Ramses III were less successful. Egypt lost its provinces in Palestine and Syria for good and suffered from foreign invasions, notably by the Libyans, while its wealth was being steadily but inevitably depleted. Now there's a couple more parts here, but I'm going to finish them in another video because I think I'm reaching the 30-minute mark, and that's how long my gameplay video is. So I unfortunately don't have any more gameplay to add on to this video. I wasn't expecting it to last this long. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that me stumbling over these names made you smile, because that was rough. Anyways, hit that like button, subscribe, share. I'd appreciate it. And thank you all for your continued support and watching. I really appreciate